Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and I learned some very interesting things today. Namely, that XRP was part of the largest Ponzi scheme in the history of cryptocurrencies, and that the largest, this is fascinating too, the largest Ponzi scheme, largest scam, period, in all of cryptocurrency, the largest one is not BitConnect, which would have been my guess. And I guess it previously was, but it is not. This one's actually bigger. And we've known about this since summer of last year. I may have briefly mentioned it, but I never really dug in deeply until today. But today I spent a good bit of time researching this because there is this article on your screen right now with XRP mentioned in the title, and that certainly caught my attention. It's from You Today. And this one's titled, Fraud Alert Announced as Plus Token Moves Almost 285 Million XRP. And I thought, what is this? I remembered Plus Token. I couldn't remember exactly what it was. Because again, I know for sure I read something about it. I probably briefly mentioned it or covered it to some small degree on the channel. But there was never any sort of in-depth analysis, and I was unaware that XRP specifically played a role in this as people were getting scammed. So I thought I'd just share with you the specifics. This is really something here, and it's historical in the sense that, again, the biggest scam in all of crypto, period. But before we go any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button. And also, if you are a fan of Ripple on XRP, you done came to the right spot, son or daughter. Go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel, an XRP-centric channel, and you can become part of the echo chamber. So let's go ahead and dive in right now. Whale Alert and XRPL Monitor have spotted two gargantuan crypto transactions bearing 284.8 million XRP tokens, and this amounts to an impressive $53.8 million at the current XRP rate. And there are the two transactions on the screen. So one was for 150 million XRP. And as far as Whale Alert's concerned, it notes that it's transferred from an unknown wallet to an unknown wallet, but we ended up finding out what those wallets were, actually. That's coming up here. And then the second one was 134, I'll just round it, 0.7 million XRP transferred from unknown wallet to unknown wallet. And so again, both of those, we done figured out what they are. Take a look at this. The analytics website BitHump has marked these transfers as a fraud alert, since the sender and the receiver was the Plus token scam closed down in 2019. So how about that? So even though it happened to be the case that Whale Alert was unaware of this, it turns out these particular addresses were already marked by BitHump, presumably as early as this past summer. And you can see on this, it's on your screen right here, they actually put a fraud alert notice on these particular wallets that people would be aware and perhaps not willingly interact with them in any sort of capacity here. And so let me move on here. Now, it wasn't just XRP, of course. XRP was absolutely a piece of this, but so was Bitcoin and so was Ethereum. So here's a piece from You Today. This is from December 19th of this past year. 105 million in ETH sent by Plus token Ponzi scheme to unknown wallet. Will it impact Ethereum price? I'm not going to get into the price stuff here, but it starts off as follows. I just want to cover the top part. A few hours ago, the Whale Alert Twitter account detected a large amount of Ether transferred from Plus token to a wallet with an unidentified owner. The sum totaled 789,000 Ethereum, ETH, which is around $105 million. It was at the time anyway. I can't remember how different the price is then versus today, but you kind of get the point here. And so ultimately what was going on here, and I'm going to cover a little bit more of the story, but let me cite this. In doing a little bit of research, the only information I could find as far as how XRP ended up becoming involved is that the actual wallet that was designed with the Plus token wallet, it allowed for the deposit of, at the time anyway, where I read this particular news piece, 8 different cryptocurrencies. And so it was Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and then there were 5 others. I don't remember what they were, but it doesn't really matter. And so effectively, what would happen is you'd con people into, because it's a Ponzi scheme, you'd recruit them into using this particular wallet, and then you'd put your holdings up so you can kind of like I'll read through this. I can't remember the right terminology to use, but basically you're allowing your funds that you deposit, whether it's XRP or ETH or whatever, to be traded on the platform in theory, so that you're in theory earning interest. And there were of course outrageous percentages, as is the case with most Ponzi schemes, it seems. And then it's gone, and then it's ultimately gone. And before it's just like any Ponzi scheme, prior to getting exposed for the scam that it is. Presumably, if you wanted to withdraw whatever you had deposited, and with some ill-gotten gains at that point, not that you knew you were necessarily a part of a Ponzi scheme, so it's not like you were doing wrong, but you shouldn't have those gains. Apparently, before that, of course, you could have taken them. And so that's how XRP became a part of the largest scam in the history of crypto. So let me give you a few more specifics. Take a look at this. This is nuts. And wait till because I'm going to compare also the size of this scam to BitConnect. So let me get to that too, because it's fascinating here. On June 27th, oh, by the way, I should mention the date on this. This is from August 19th of last year, 2019. On August 27th, 2019, a handful of leaders for a wildly popular Ponzi scheme that spread across Asia were arrested by Chinese authorities after they managed to fleece unwitting customers out of roughly $3 billion. Plus Token, as it was called, promised its investors monthly returns of anywhere from 10 to 30% in its eponymous Token Plus, which traded on such popular exchanges as Huobi and BitHum. This attracted more than 200,000 Bitcoin, which was, by the way, 1% of the outstanding Bitcoin supply. 1% of the entire supply of Bitcoin became subject to this scam. That's nutso, bro. That absolutely is insane. Which is also the entirety of the Winklevoss's Bitcoin holdings, which is also an insane fact. I like how they called him in this article. They called him the Winklevi. They pluralized it by calling him Winklevi instead of Winklevoss. That's fantastic. But anyway, so 789,000 Ether and 26 million EOS. And they didn't mention XRP in this particular report. I actually had not seen XRP mentioned in any other articles. It may have been, but in the ones that I found, it wasn't mentioned. The only instance of this being pointed out was in this article that I came across today, except for the piece that had a little snippet citing that XRP could be deposited in the Plus Token wallet. Other than that, that's all that I found about XRP specifically on this. But it's kind of substantial. I mean, you're talking about over $50 million at today's price worth of XRP, and at the time it was worth more, and presumably it'll go back up, right? But no, and then so I tried to find out the specifics. So as far as an update. And so here's the 6 D-bags on the screen that, and there are actually more people than just these 6 here, but these are 6 that ended up getting arrested. And as my grandpappy used to say, people are no damn good. Grandpappy, you're so wise. How do you learn so much valuable stuff? You're spot on, though. So I tried to get an update, and the most recent article I could find is from May 22nd, so just under a month ago, and it was titled, Plus Token Leadership Faces Criminal Prosecution in China. But it just kind of covered the piece, and there was no update. I don't even know why this was a news article. Maybe was it a slow news day, and they just were putting out the same news and talking about how Plus Token leadership faces criminal prosecution. Now, the interesting thing is, so these people apparently, as far as we know, behind bars, either going to trial, waiting for trial. I don't know, because there hasn't been additional news. I couldn't find it. If you can, let me know, because I'm curious enough. I'd love to check out additional links. But there are many more people involved, obviously, and they're the ones out there moving around this XRP, which has absolutely been tied to this scam. And so, there's obviously going to be an effort, and they're going to do this over time. They're not going to try and, launder all of this money effectively in the short term. They're going to be smart about this, smart little criminals, and do it over a long period of time. So as to, make it less obvious in theory. There'll be, in theory, less attention around it anyway. And if something goes wrong, if you do it in little chunks over a long period of time, then you're less likely to lose everything if you're the scammer and something goes terribly wrong for you. But this is really something here. And so here's how they cite that they kind of got this thing rolling. One of the ringleaders of Plus Token is now facing criminal charges in China. Plus Token is one of the largest apparent scams in the cryptocurrency industry's history. It's actually the largest. According to local media, Zhu will face public prosecutors in the court of Jianhu County, Yangqing City, Jiangsu Province. I'm butchering all those names. I know it. I just know it. As the local government only supplied Zhu's family name, at press time we can't confirm exactly which Zhu this refers to. Zhu reportedly publicized and promoted the Plus Token wallet app, a so-called cryptocurrency financial management application, through WeChat and other avenues over the internet. By registering 4 different accounts with SIM cards in the wallet, he allegedly lured more than 1.9 million people into the pyramid scam. Wow, 1.9 million people. So you might want to compare that to BitConnect. So we know that the dollar amount, I believe, here we go. The final dollar amount for the scam with Plus Token, $2.9 billion. BitConnect, as seen on the screen here, $2.6 billion. So not that far off, but BitConnect, although I would argue is better known, at least in the West it is, this Plus Token scam, or not much bigger, but a bit bigger, definitely the biggest in the history of cryptocurrency. Rather fascinating stuff here, and people are just the worst, aren't they? So we'll see. I don't know what you do as far as I don't know how you're going to track this down. I mean, maybe there's some sort of way. I mean, see, it's fascinating because XRP, it's a public ledger, so you can see all the transactions here. But my gosh, there's some eyeballs on these accounts. So I mean, I guess you can use a privacy coin to try and wash this. But man, there's ways to kind of weave things together as far as the timing of when things go into out of accounts, where you can kind of figure out what's going on. So even if you're going to wash it using a privacy coin, you can still get caught. You can still get caught. So we'll see. I mean, if there's another update on this, I'll be happy to cover it because this is fascinating. So XRP is a little piece of it's got a little piece of coverage in this most epic, horrendous scam in the history of cryptocurrency. That's it for this video, though. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!